Hello all and welcome, and I am the Realist Philosopher, and this is Stupid Stuff People Say, and me responding to it, volume number 1. So how y'all doing today? Hope you're all doing good, fine, and well. I'm doing okay. I'm in a good mood. I'm reading some stupid stuff right now and laughing my ass off. I was going to say a nasty pejorative there, but I'm going to try and keep that to a minimum. Right. I should anyway. Well, I don't know, but anyway. So yes. So this is going to be a new series in which I essentially address dumb things, really dumb things that people say. Not much more to explain there. If people say dumb shit, I'm going to comment on it. It's that simple. All right, so let's get right to it, shall we? And I hope you enjoy. All right, so this is from a post on Facebook. So these are going to be from myriad places, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, right? Okay, so let's see what we got here. So somebody has posted about Marx. People love this guy. By the way, have any of you out there seen a picture of this dude? One of the most unkept, slovenly pigs that ever existed, this freaking guy. From what I understand, this guy was so disgustingly dirty, and he just hated bathing so much that he developed all these horrible boils all over his body. He just had such poor hygiene, and just sitting down was painful because he had boils all over his ass, and it was just like his whole existence was one of suffering and misery. And guess what? He wants everybody else to have that same kind of horrible, crappy existence, right? I am a miserable human being. I don't know why I'm miserable. I could tell him why, because he's a lazy fuck, right? Who doesn't want to work? A loser. I'm too good to work. That's really all these socialists who argue about people having to have jobs and enslaving them. That's all they really are, right? They're a bunch of losers, right? They're a bunch of people who don't want to work. And they don't want to work. They think they're too good to have a job. I'm a special, sophisticated freaking artist, so I shouldn't have to work a job like those other lowly peons out there that I pretend that I care about, but I really don't. That's just a pretext, so I can push through this bullshit that allows me not to have a job, and then I can steal from the people that I hate and envy, meaning the capitalists that he hated so much. Oh, God, this is one ugly freaking guy. I mean, if you want to know anything about the history of Marx, this guy was a horrible human being. He stooped his maid. Right, a maid that he didn't even pay. This is back in the mid-late 1800s, right? So, you could actually get away with having a maid and not paying her a salary and just like giving her a place to live and food and stuff because, life was so hard back then that, hey, you give me room and board? Sure, I'll clean your house and bang you or let you bang me, right? And apparently she was some crippled chick that, grew up in his household, right? And then was just kind of given to him or handed down to him or something like that. Oh, this guy's a real lovely guy, huh? Sounds like slavery to me. I will pass my slaves down to my children and my children's children if they happen to live that long. Right? So, he stooped his maid who was disabled. She had like a club foot or something, I don't know. And then she got pregnant and popped out his bastard kid. And when that happened, he kicked her out into the street. And he never acknowledged the kid either. He mooched off of all his friends, but this guy was a horrible person. He wasn't like Kramer, whereas, Kramer was an interesting, funny guy, fun to be around, and he mooched off you. No, Marx was a horrible, cruel, evil, manipulative narcissist who pretty much hated almost everybody and was a terrible person to be around, horrible company. And he still mooched off of everybody. He had like one friend, right, who actually made some decent money, right, who was something of a capitalist and business owner, right? He mooched off him, right, mooched off his family, mooched off his wife's family. This guy was such a loser that anybody listens to this freaking guy, and then people will argue like, oh, well, don't look at the person, look at the arguments. Really? And what if I got a fat person telling me how to diet? What? Right? What if I got a hedonist glutton trying to tell me how to live an austere lifestyle? Are you kidding me? I think when their lifestyle, is in some way, shape, or form directly correlated or can be directly correlated to that which they are trying to teach, profess, advocate for, I think I can use that as a way to judge their teachings and what they're advocating for. Like I'm going to listen to some big, fat, 400-pound land whale woman telling me how to lose weight? Come on! This freaking guy's life, all right, is a direct representation of what happens to somebody who adopts this dude's ideas. Anyway, so here's a little quote from Marx that somebody has just posted, right? In bourgeois society, capital is independent and has individuality, while the living person is dependent and has no individuality. Well, he sure was dependent, all right. Like I said, this guy was mooching off everybody because he was too friggin' lazy to work. This guy never had a job. Yeah, he wrote a bunch of books that were crap and that everybody in his time laughed at, right? Because people in the past were smarter than they are now. People have gotten dumber, right? So their bullshit radar is much lower. It's much weaker. So this guy was a joke back then, and he should be a joke now, right? But you got a lot of lazy people that don't want to work, and they want some kind of justification for that, so they've latched onto this guy's crap. So capital is independent is individuality. Hey, nothing stopping you from being independent, pal. You're dependent because you're lazy. You don't want to work. You think you're too good to work. And that's the way most socialists are from what I've seen. They all think they're too good to have regular jobs, right? And meanwhile, they study things in university which would in no way, shape, or form allow them to get a real job, right? They study this crap like gender studies and race studies and crap like that. Well, how can I make a living off of that? I mean, unless you're going to be some kind of fucking diplomat or some shit. I didn't even know if that's going to help you out with the race studies or something. Or how about political science? Really? How many politicians are out there in the world, huh? Not too many, right? They study in all these fields of endeavor that are so rarefied that there's so few jobs out there that it's almost like they want to be unemployed, right? So that they can then run around and moan and groan about being oppressed because they're not able to make a living. Oh, poor you. Maybe you should have chose something that would actually allow you to make money, like engineering. Oh, no. That would require real work and real graft, right? Losers. And notice how all these losers are just like Marx. Imagine that. Like attracts like. Moving on. Another dumb comment, all right? I would give you the names of the people that posted them and all that, but I want them to remain anonymous, right? I don't want to single people out for any type of trolling or harassment. God forbid. There's so many snowflakes out there in the world who can't handle criticism. All right, so next. Comment. Have you ever thought about how meaningless and stupid life will be if indeed there is no God, judgment, hell, or heaven? No. Next. This is so dumb, right? Of course, I talked about this before, how one infuses their life with meaning, right? You create the meaning in your own life. Existentialism talks a lot about this. It's a school of philosophy you might want to check out. But yeah, you create the meaning in your own life. Yes, there's no intrinsic meaning. There's no meaning that's woven into the fabric of the universe that applies to every human being that is out there. It's up to you to find the meaning. There is meaning, but you have to create it in your own life. People saying this stuff are probably socialists too, right? If somebody else has to give me my meaning, I can't do the work to find my meaning. God. They even apply socialism to finding the meaning of life. Pathetic bastards. Okay, next. Please, what is the rationale behind female circumcision? I'll tell you what it is. Equality, baby. Women want equality, right? You know what I think? I think that women should have to get their clits cut off, just like a man has to get circumcised. That's what I think. Because women want equality, right? I mean, men are getting circumcised. What's the rationale behind that? Is there any rationale or justification for circumcising men? No. The whole health and hygiene thing is a myth. That is an absolute freaking myth. There is no justification for circumcising a man. And by the way, they talk about how a woman's clitoris has 8,000 nerves in it. A man's foreskin has 20,000, okay? 25% of men who get circumcised report that they have difficulty having orgasms. And that's self-reported, okay? It's probably many, many more. And as they get older, the sexual dysfunction and the ability to feel pleasure gets worse because the head of the penis, which is supposed to be covered by the foreskin, is constantly exposed, and it's growing in ever thicker skin to deal with all of the friction that occurs within one's underwear and pants, which it's not supposed to be getting because it's supposed to be covered up with a foreskin so that it stays sensitive and able to feel sensation, right? Yeah, so actually, circumcision is worse for a man than it is for a woman. So what's the rationale for it? Psh, I could ask the same question about men, but of course nobody's going to address that because nobody gives a crap about men, right? All right, next. Next stupid comment. Question. Whatever. Now, some of these questions are just stupid because of how obvious they are, like asking if water's wet. Are religion and terrorism linked? Really? Somebody's actually asking this question. This is shocking. What do you think? You got all these people running around yelling, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. Did I get that right, the pronunciation? Probably not. I killed those people for Allah. I mean, they tell you why they did it, right? They say, I did it for God. No, they don't say God. They say Allah, right? Allah. I did it for Allah. I did it for Allah, to kill the infidels, to make Allah happy. It's a jihad. La, 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 la. What do you think? They're telling you why they did it, okay? The people that are telling you that they're not linked are essentially those pinhead leftists in the mainstream media who work for the global elites, okay? And they're nothing more than propagandists. Next. Oh, this next one's great. Will male sex robots replace real men? You know, a woman wrote this. No, sweetheart, you know why? Because these sex robots, they can't earn money. And women want men for their money, not for their schlongs, okay? Men and women are not equal. They're not equivalent. They don't want the same things from each other as much as you would like people to believe that they do. Even though you don't objectify men in any way, shape, or form. And you also do that, okay? But mostly for their money, right? Okay. Next comment, question, I don't know. Some of these are clearly written by people who don't speak English as a first language. Don't you think that being atheist requires great strength of mind since they have to rely on themselves only? Well, I got news for you. Religious people, they have to rely on themselves only as well, okay? They got nobody else to rely on but themselves. The difference is they delude themselves into thinking that some ferryman in the sky deserves the credit for any and everything they do, while people like myself, who will wait until we see evidence for a God before we believe in it, along with anything else for that matter, we know that there's no God, or we don't believe there's a God because we've seen no evidence, and, we know that if we do something, guess what? We deserve the credit, okay? Rely on themselves only. Who else am I relying on? The ferryman, the milkman, the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus. Get the fuck out of here. I'm not relying on anybody, yes, except myself. So what? It is so frightening to some people, isn't it? Some people, they just cannot handle the realization, just coming to the realization that it is just them that they're relying on. There's nobody else, right? It makes me feel better to believe there's somebody else out there looking over me. Yeah. Like I care about the ants in my friggin' ant farm, huh? Like I have an ant farm. Like what if I have an ant farm or something, right? Like a gigantic ant farm with like 7 billion friggin' ants in it. You think I give a fuck about one ant? You think I'm even going to recognize one of those ants? Now, just now scale that up to the size of the universe, right? Which is supposed to be infinite or near infinite. How many ants are in that? God, there's more planets than there are ants in my friggin' ant farm, okay? There's probably more galaxies than there are ants in that ant farm, okay? And you're going to tell me that there's some ferryman being out there that gives a crap about where I put my penis? Or somehow helping me behind the scenes in my life? Come on. The IQs have dropped sharply, clearly. All right, let's move on. Next question. Why is Europe better financially than Africa? I don't know if I should address this question or not because I don't want to get kicked off the platform. Should I address it? Well, let me address it in passing, okay? And try to be as non-specific as possible about the answer. Okay, well, no, I don't guess I can do that. All right. Europe is better off financially than Africa because, white people on average have higher IQs, and IQ is directly linked to earning potential. This is a fact. There have been studies done about this, many, many, many studies. It's just a fact, okay? Blacks have, on average, lower IQs. That's it. That's it. Next. Is it wrong to build a wall to keep out illegals? Oh, boy. I get this. I see this question so often, and it's so stupid. I saw an article the other day talking about how walls don't work, right? How if people want to get in, they'll get in. They'll build these things that they can drive over the wall. Yeah, I saw something where, some clever, creative people had built like some kind of like ramp. And you would like drive the ramp up and then, essentially on the other side, I don't know how this would work really. I guess you would like put the car in park and then get out on the hood. It had like rails, right? Wooden rails or something, and then you would drive over the other end. But how the hell would you get over the sharp incline at the top, right? I don't get that. I don't know how that would work. I would think that the height of the wall would have to be pretty low or something, right? Or you would have to like maybe have something like a platform to put it on, and I don't know. But anyway, people talking about how you want to get over a wall, you'll get over a wall, right? Why have a wall? Walls don't work. They don't work. They're not 100% effective, right? That's true, right? I mean, that's absolutely true. I mean, somebody wants to get over a wall bad enough, eventually they'll figure out a way, right? Right? So what? So do people understand that a wall is exactly like a door on your house? Do they understand that? I mean, talking about walls not working is talking about like not having doors on your friggin' house, right? Well, why should I have a door? Why should anybody have a door? Because if somebody wants to get into your house badly enough, they'll be able to get in, right? I mean, you could have a good door, right? But somebody could kick it real hard, right? And they'll bust that sucker in, right? You see cops all the time, right? Well, male cops. You don't see female cops kicking in doors. But you see male cops kicking them in. You see male cops all the time kicking in a door. They just kick it once or twice and boom, they're right in. I mean, it's so easy to break a door down. Why even have a door? Right? Right? What is this? This is so stupid. I don't understand this. Why people have this just these stupid thoughts and ideas that makes no sense to me at all. Have you ever heard of a deterrent, you pinheads? Have you heard of a fucking deterrent? Do you know what a deterrent is, huh? Laws are deterrents, you idiots. Ooh, I have laws. Laws don't stop people from killing other people. There's still people getting killed. Yeah. Do you wonder how many people would get killed if we had no law against murder, you idiot? Fucking morons. Do you wonder how many people would die if the President of the United States, if Donald J. Trump came out tomorrow and said, okay, no more laws against murder. You can all just start killing each other and nobody will be charged with murder or go to jail. I wonder how many people might be getting murdered then. I can think of a few people I'd like to settle a score with that I might just go out and take care of if it wasn't illegal. Oh, but don't have deterrence. No doors, no laws, no nothing, right? Let's not deter any behavior, right? That might be harmful to other people. This is so stupid. Why do you have a door on your fucking house, you moron? Because you don't want people to get in, right? Yeah, some people might want to get in, but if you have a real good door that's real hard to break in, well, that's going to stop most people. Sure, there might be some crazy whack job out there that wants to get into your house so freaking bad that he'll come to your house with an axe and start whacking at your door and break it in. But by that time, then you'll have a gun, which is another deterrent that if you have it and people know it, they're far less likely to try and break into your friggin' house. And that's the same thing a friggin' wall is, you moron. Yeah. A wall, if somebody wants to bypass it, They can eventually. But if it's a good enough wall, if it's high enough, if it has enough safeguards, if it has enough anti-climbing measures, right, then it's going to take a long time to bypass, and by the time you do, you will have drawn enough attention that the Border Patrol comes and arrests your ass. You see, so this is why it would be a good idea for a wall to have cameras at regular intervals, right, and seismic equipment to detect large amount of vibration in a certain a quadrant of the wall, and then they could, click a button for that quadrant and directly hone in a camera in that area on what's going on there. Oh, somebody's trying to break through the wall. Let's go get them. Meanwhile, if there was no wall there, you would know they were there, and they would just stream through with an army of people, which is what's happening now, you pinheads. I have a wall. It doesn't work. Nothing's 100%, you idiot. That's not the point. That's not the freaking point. There's no door on this planet that could stop somebody who was essentially hell-bent on getting into your house, who was just bound and determined to do it no matter what the consequences. Sure. But does that mean we don't have doors? Or laws against murder? Or walls, you idiots? No! Doors, walls, laws, they're all deterrents, and to a large degree, they're highly effective, okay? Highly effective in maintaining order, and we need them all to be able to do that and continue to run and have a stable society and run a stable government and have a stable society. We need all these things, right? Apparently not, if you listen to these liberal pinheads. All right, moving on. Walls don't work. Idiots. Next question here. Should a father be allowed to put a child out of his own home? Okay, so I had to, change the wording and some of the vocabulary because the writer of it was almost unintelligible. I deciphered it, though. Okay, well, I think that would depend, right? I'm not so sure if this is a stupid question. If it was about a 10-year-old, yeah, it's stupid, yeah. But the person didn't specify an age. So, I'm going to let them know that, it's not stupid or wrong, I should say, if the kid is 18 and like a dope head or something. But if they're 10, not only is it wrong, but it's illegal. All right, moving on. Okay, next question. Is it correct for this philosophy group, to mock God and say he's comparable to Pokemon and cartoon characters? Is that correct? Acceptable, I guess, is what the person meant to say, but is it acceptable to mock God? Well, since I don't believe there's a God to mock to begin with, that's like asking me, is it correct to mock Santa Claus? Or the Tooth Fairy? Or the Easter Bunny? Or the Boogeyman? The answer is yes, it's perfectly acceptable to mock that which has not been proven to exist. We could ask, is it acceptable to mock the spaghetti monster in the sky? Or unicorns? Or Bigfoot? Get the fuck out of here. Next. This is great. All right, this is pretty funny. This is just a stupid statement. So I'm looking at a picture here of two women that are dressed like ninjas. They're dressed like friggin' ninjas, so they're covered head to toe, right? They're covered head to toe in what are blue robes, essentially. I mean, they could be nuns if their faces weren't covered, right? And the only thing visible is their eyes through a small slit. And there's a statement on this question. Listen to this. They're holding their fingers like how women will wave their finger at you when they're nagging you or complaining or something. So here's the statement with these on this meme of these two broads who you can't see anything of because they're covered in a big giant garbage bag. We don't need compliments from a guy or recognition from a magazine to know that we're beautiful. We know we're beautiful. We know we're queens because our creator told us so. Your mommy? Your daddy? What creator is that? Oh, Allah! Oh, I see. Don't give credit where credit is due, right? To your mommy and your daddy for creating you and raising you. No, some invisible man in the sky, right? Lovely. All right. InviteToIslam.org. Notice how this message has quite a number of feminist overtones to it. We don't need a man's compliments. Man hate, men are evil. That's kind of what's being inferred there. We don't need recognition from magazines, right? So, yeah, body positivity, right? Not adhering to the stereotypical standards of what is supposedly, quote-unquote, beautiful, right? We know we're beautiful. We know we're queens. Sounds like feminism to me, because our creator told us so. This is great. The funny thing about this is this message, Islam from Islam, invitetoislam.org. Oh my God, this is so funny. Islam trying to recruit feminists when they are the biggest patriarchal religion group, whatever, on the friggin' planet, man. Yeah, you feminists out there, you go ahead and join Islam, right? I think they want to join it just because of the garbage bag thing, right? I mean, I think they believe, if they can wear these big, gigantic, robes and cover their faces, well, then they just let themselves go completely, right? I mean, if they get fat enough, you're still going to see how fat they are. Well, not completely, though. I mean, you'll still see they're fat, but I think they want to wear those big, giant garbage bags so they can hide their bodies, right? That's all it is. Wow, you ladies out there really like to eat, don't you? You like to eat so much that you're going to reach a point where the only way you can feel good about yourself is if you cover yourself from head to toe and tell yourself this mantra again and again and again that I'm beautiful, I'm wonderful, I'm beautiful, I'm great. Meanwhile, you have to cover yourself up because you're so ashamed of how you look. Oh, God. Okay, next statement from Bill Gates. Yeah, imagine that. Bill Gates saying something stupid. So there's a good example right here of how some people are smart in one thing but very dumb about everything else, right? What is Bill Gates good at anyway? Coding or something? He's certainly not good about life. Good advice, that's for sure, in regards to life. Listen to this. So I got a picture of the goofy-looking Bill Gates here. And on it, it says, don't compare yourself with anyone else in this world. If you do so, you're insulting yourself. I see. Well, what about comparing ourselves and saying, I have these shortcomings, and this is how I'd like to be. I'm seeing some contrast here. I'm seeing some things that I don't like about me because I'm comparing myself to others who have qualities I do like, and I would like to have those qualities as well. Wouldn't that be a good kind of comparing, Mr. Bill Gates? Fucking idiot. What a fucking moron. What if I'm a serial killer? Right? And I'm eating people. What if I'm, that Jeffrey Dahmer, right? What if I'm Jeffrey Dahmer and, I'm sitting there, I'm watching The Price is Right or whatever the hell he watched. Who knows? And I got 3 big, giant 50-gallon drums in a storage room in my apartment, and they're filled with various body parts that I'm trying to dissolve in acid. Might it behoove me, perhaps, to compare myself to some better people out there so that maybe I might be motivated to change? Maybe I'll see, via contrast, what a pathetic, horrible, evil, disgusting human being I am, and then I might need to change. Might that be a good form of comparison, Mr. Gates? It's Jesus Christ. You gotta love fucking stupid smart people who make these absolutist statements, right? All right, moving on. Oh, the stupidness keeps on coming. Oh, boy. Listen to this. I wish I could, tell you the names of these people, but, then somebody might be able to call me out for bullying or harassment or something like that, but, oh, well. Listen to this. So there's a meme here of the cute little kid, and I don't know if this is a doll or a human being because it's got gigantic eyes and it's a real cute little kid. And in the picture, it says this: it's not our job to toughen our children up to face a cruel and heartless world. It's our job to raise children who will make the world a little less cruel and heartless. Oh, God! This is such gibberish. What nonsense! That's not even that, actually. Yes, it has meaning, but the wrong meaning. This is one of the dumber things I've ever heard, okay? This is, of course, obviously coming from a hippie. This type of nonsense, right? You know when you're hearing from a hippie, right? This is just such a pie-in-the-sky bullshit, right? This is idealism to the, 100th degree. It's not our job to toughen our children up. Well, really? So I see what this is all about. So if everybody raised their children to be less cruel and heartless, then the world itself would be less cruel and heartless. And then we wouldn't need to toughen our children up to begin with. Meaning, I'm too much of a big, gigantic pussy of a parent to be anything other than my child's friend. I don't want them to not like me or be unhappy. My world of feels just couldn't handle seeing that. So I'm going to justify to myself raising my kid to be a big, giant, wimpy snowflake by telling myself that that's the right thing to do. Yeah, I'm making the world a better place by making my child a big wimp. Yeah, the world isn't inherently a mean, nasty, tough, cruel place where unfair things happen. Nah, nice people don't get cancer. Nah, nice people don't step off curbs and get hit by buses and end up quadriplegics. And if they have no coping mechanisms, they'll blow their friggin' head off. Oh, no, that's not the world we live in. Who was writing this stuff? And this is some of the worst advice I've ever seen. The world is heartless, okay? The world doesn't give a goddamn about what you think and how you feel. It's just going to continue to spin along on its axis and spin around the sun and do what comes natural. And sometimes that's going to result in heartache and tragedy for us. And if you don't know how to deal with it, and if you don't realize that the world is a tough, cruel place, it doesn't give a fuck about you, well, you are going to be one miserable person. Until you blow your head off, of course, because again, you can't cope with it because you're a wimp. All right, moving on. Okay. Yet another stupid absolutist statement. Listen to this. No family is perfect. We argue, we fight, we even start talking to each other at times. But in the end, family is family. The love will always be there. On what planet? You know how many families hate each other? And there's no love there at all. There's just, animus. You know how many families are like that? A lot. What is this nonsense? Why do people adhere to these kind of absolute statements? You know why? I think it is because they don't want to think about anything, right? If I just have this one absolute belief about something in regards to every single situation out there, all families are like this, right? It makes my life so much easier, right? I don't have to think about anything, right? I don't have to look at anything on a case-by-case basis and use my brain. Oh, no. Family is everything. It is the most important thing. Really? Then why are there so many parents out there that kill their children, huh? Why are there so many parents out there that beat their children, huh? Why are there so many parents out there that are locking their kids in closets and shit and nearly starving them to death? Why is that? Why is that? If family is so important, if it's everything, and there's always love there, why are those kind of things happening? Can you tell me that? No? Let's move on then. Yet another dumb statement, right? Overly simplistic. Don't be racist. We're all the same on the inside. So there's a picture here of 3 eggs, a really dark brown egg, a light brown egg, and then a white egg. And then they've got 3 cooked eggs, and they all look the same. Talk about not only overly simplistic, but just plain wrong, okay? First of all, this is a false equivalency. You can't compare an egg to people, you pinhead. And by the way, not all eggs are the same. You got duck eggs. You got fucking chicken eggs. You got crocodile eggs. You gonna tell me they're all the same because they're eggs, you idiot? That's number one. Number two, people are not all the same. Our DNA varies. It differs. If we were all the same, you idiot, we would all look the same, you pinhead, you. We look different. We act different. We have different levels of aggression. We have different IQs, different levels of muscle mass, strength, speed on average. These things, how many white people you see playing in the NFL, pal? It's just the stupidity of so many of these statements. All right, move on. Not worth any more of my time. 3 eggs. Oy vey. All right, here's another dumb statement from somebody who clearly believes in a God. I just love claims that have no evidence, right? Just feel-good bullshit. God has a great plan for your life. Trust him. Is God a him? I find that interesting because this same post, the picture says Wayman empowerment. Really? I would think that if you wanted to empower Wayman, you would call God a her, right? Aren't you stereotyping God's gender, right? Aren't you pushing the whole patriarchy thing by calling God a him? I guess it doesn't matter since he's just everybody's imaginary friend who believes in him. He's not real. God has a great plan. Please. There's no destiny. Let me tell you something, people. You choose your own destiny, okay? That's it. Your choices, they determine the outcome of your life, all right? And the better you can foresee the future consequences of your choices, the better you can map out your life to be that which you want it to be, okay? All right, moving on. Okay, next. Okay, this one's interesting. So we got a picture here of two little kids sitting in the rain, holding some fish, which I guess they caught. They look like little Asian kids. And there's some writing on this picture, and it says, if you have nothing in life but a good friend, you're rich. What? What does that mean? It's that sense, of course. I mean, I know what it's supposed to mean. I know what it's trying to impart, what it's trying to say. It's total nonsense, right? No, you're not. No, you're not. If you have nothing else but a good friend, you know what you are? You're a poor, broke motherfucker that has a poor, broke motherfucker for a friend as well. You're both poor, broke motherfuckers who are out there scavenging for some mercury-infused, horrid-looking fish that may or may not be edible and may or may not make you go blind. These fish that these kids are holding in this picture, oy vey, I would not eat those. Yeah. What is this nonsense? You're rich if you have a good friend. So you have no money, you have nothing but a friend. Well, what are you going to do with him? Can you eat him? Well, I guess if you're starving, you could eat him, but first you'd have to kill him and then eat him, in which case you would no longer have a friend. And then you wouldn't be rich anymore. And in addition to being rich, you'd be broke as well. His meat wouldn't last very long, and then you'd have to find yourself a new friend, right? Good friends don't come easy, especially if you ate the last one. This is so ridiculous. You're rich if you have a good friend. Get out of here. Oh, boy. All right, anyhow, moving on. Okay. Next one. So we got a bunch of little kids on a beach. I don't know what the correlation is between this and the message. It looks like they're having fun. I guess that's the point. So the message in this picture reads, just don't think too much. Just do what makes you happy. I can think of so many things wrong with this message. I would have to bring up the example of Jeffrey Dahmer. I think this guy would fit this meme perfectly. He didn't think too much about what he was doing. He just did what made him happy, right? And what made him happy? Well, luring young gay guys to his house and then bonking them on the fucking head and eating them. He wasn't thinking much either. And I bet he was very happy. At least in the moment. He was doing what made him happy. Ay. Such nonsense. Okay, next. Something else very stupid. It looks like it's at a school. Oh, yes. Lovely. All right. Yeah, so this next one is clearly a school trying to abdicate responsibility for their bad teaching. So listen to this. So there's a sign, what looks like in a school hallway, all right, trying to guilt some parents, make it look like it's the parents' fault that the school's doing a shitty job. A good education begins at home. I'll agree with you there in regards to things like morality and ethics, right? But generally speaking, with both parents working, beyond that, they don't have much time to educate the child, which is, why they're paying taxes to send their kids to a school, which is supposed to be teaching them, but apparently, going by how stupid people are these days, isn't. You cannot blame a school for not nurturing values in your child that you have not instilled. Okay, so what are we talking about here? Are we talking about science, math, English? Are we talking about these things? Or are we talking about morality and ethics, okay? But because it seems like you're conflating the two. To make what is essentially a spurious point, all right? Yeah. I shouldn't be surprised, though, that they don't see their own fallacious reasoning. These are people who don't know how to teach, too stupid to teach. They have almost no education, even after going to 4, 5, 6 years of university. So why am I surprised that they make these fallacious arguments? I shouldn't be. All right, moving on. Okay, this next one's just stupid. When you realize that you've got nothing to lose, you'll turn into a beast. What the hell does that mean? I suppose it means you'll be the best, most effective, strongest, dangerous, efficient, productive you that you can be. No. What do you mean got nothing to lose? I got plenty to lose. Wealth, welfare, my personal well-being, my health, my possessions, my life. But I tell you, when I look at a lot of these philosophy pages and forums online, what I see are people who are just trying to sound clever. And they think they're being philosophical, but all they're really doing is sounding retarded. They think they're sounding clever, and they think they're sounding profound, right? But this is not philosophy. Oh, Lord have mercy on me. Philosophy is a tool of the mind to better understand reality. It's a tool we use, okay? It's not little pithy profundities like this nonsense, all right? All right, moving on. Okay, next dumb question, all right? So this would be on my list of totally useless questions, things that you shouldn't wonder about, i.e., the mysteries of life. It's a waste of time and waste of life. What happens to data and memories you keep in your brain when you die? Does your God store them in an organic hard disk? What? This is so stupid. And see, there is such a thing as stupid questions, people. This is proof positive of that. What happens to data and memories you keep in your brain when you die? They're gone. Right? They're gone. Because I'm dead and my brain rots, okay? It's not like The Walking Fucking Dead, all right? Which is a stupid show anyway. It's become crappy, by the way. I might add. Your brain turns to goop. All right? It melts. It just liquefies, right? And creates all these gases that eventually make your body explode, right? And may or may not blow up your coffin in the process. Yeah. This, by the way, is one of the reasons that in olden days bodies would be poked full of holes, right? Stabbed repeatedly so the gases could escape. The worst thing that could possibly happen in a funeral in, say, 1505 is when the body explodes while people are viewing it, right? Gets blood and guts and shit all over the people who are viewing it. Yeah, that would be bad, right? But, yeah, it all just rots, you know? That's it, pal. We return to the dust from whence we came, i.e. carbon, which is the majority of what we're made of, all right? And you get right down to it. Okay, that would technically be water, but then carbon, right? Anyhow, but right, water is not an element, it's a compound. So when we're speaking of elements, the most prominent element in the human body would be carbon, right? I believe so. And if we're talking about compounds, that would be water. Anyway, moving on. Okay, this one's just a weird question. This is some weird stuff. Women have hair on their legs, vagina, arms, and many other places. Why does society influence women to shave and be unnatural? Okay, so first of all, there's no such thing as society, okay? It doesn't exist. It's just a construct in your own mind. We're just in a world of individuals. There are no collectives of any kind. As far as what people prefer, men, by and large, like as little hair on a Wayman as possible, okay? We don't mind hair down there in the nether regions because, quite frankly, once we're able to actually get down there and view that area and have access to it, we're just happy to be there, right? Once we're there, we don't care what's there as long as it looks okay in comparison to what it's supposed to look like. There's hair. okay, I can deal with that, right? I can deal with that because I've made it. I've trekked 1,000 miles. I've gotten, to that goal, and okay, I did all this work. It's there. What I want is there. All right, there's a little extra, stuff that I could do without, but I can live with it, right? Yeah, okay, sure, that's fine, right? You go through all that hard work and effort to get there, a little bit of hair, it's not too off-putting, right? Meanwhile, we have an objection with the parts of the human body in regards to women when we're talking about places that don't require any real work to interact with or see, right? Like the armpits, or the face, or the upper lip. If someone's got a mustache, I don't want to see that, okay? I don't want to see that. I haven't done any hard work to get there. There's no long trek that's required of me to get there, that once I get there, I'm so happy to be there that I will just ignore any other impediment, any other tiny little problem, because they all become tiny little problems because, the main goal, the main thing is that I'm there, it's there, and I get to go in head first, baby, as it were. So, yeah, what do I care? I see the vagina, every once in a while? Not all the time. But I got to look at her face all the time. And if she's wearing a shirt without, sleeves and all, and she's lifting her arms up, I got to see those armpits with all that hair. And the legs too, right? Basically, we don't object to hair in those places where, we don't look very often, right? And we're just happy to be there once we're there. But everywhere else, nah. No. We have to look at that all the time. We don't want to see that, all right? And honestly, if the vagina was on display 24/7, we would probably want it hairless then as well. But since it's not, and you're only going to see it on a rare occasion with the way women are these days, don't care. Don't care, right? Okay, anyhow, moving on. I can't believe I have to explain this kind of stuff to people. We want everything that is on a woman, that is on a man, to be reduced as much as possible, okay? Let me put it that simply, okay? We want it reduced as much as possible, okay, to the areas that are of the least interaction with us, okay? It's that simple. Men have hair under their arms. We don't want it on women. Men have hair on their faces. We don't want that on women either, okay? The one place we do want more hair on them than we have is their freaking heads. And for some reason, they feel the need to do the exact opposite of what we want and shave that freaking thing. And they seem to do that with everything. We like thin women, let's get fat, right? We like women with long hair, well, let's cut our hair off. And of course, what tells them to do this? Feminism, of course, which is bound and determined to destroy relationships between men and women. Next. Okay, next. All right, so we have what is clearly a hippie objecting to zoos. Zoos are prisons. Really? I wasn't aware of that. Are there people in zoos? Do we have some? Is there some zoo somewhere that is showcasing Neanderthals that have been cloned from old Neanderthal DNA that I didn't know about? Huh? Is there? Are there some half man, half monkey creatures? Stalin tried to make some of those. It didn't go too well. He thought he could make a human that was many times as strong as a human, but a lot dumber and easier to control and manipulate, right? There were some weird experiments that Stalin tried. And again, they didn't work out very well, so, yeah. Do we have a zoo somewhere that has those imprisoned in it? Half man, half monkey? No? So what are you talking about? Oh, listen to this. Listen to this. Zoos. Prisons for beings who have never committed a crime. Uh-huh. And it's a guy that wrote this. Big shocker. World is full of soy boy, vegan nut jobs these days. Hey, buddy. Monkeys ain't people, okay? Prisons are people places, okay? Zoos are not prisons, all right? It's an animal prison. I think it treated pretty well, okay? They get a nice space to live in, right? They get these large yards to run around in, these large enclosures, right? They have the opposite sex in there with them, right? They're banging night and day. They're getting free food, free everything. They're dumb animals, all right? They're dumb animals. I mean, okay, admittedly, some zoos don't give animals enough space. They have too small an enclosure, don't take care of them very well, and I would object to that. But if a zoo is smart and well-funded, right, which generally is going to be the case if they're smart, the people running it anyway, then it'll be well-funded because it'll look good, it'll have good animals that are healthy, and very active and get excited when they see people, and so, they'll play and do a bunch of weird shit that animals tend to do when they're happy and have a nice place they're living in, and that'll attract a lot of people, which will in turn fund the place even further and encourage the people that own the zoo to take even better care of the animals. So, of course, I object to animals being treated badly, but saying that if an animal is in a zoo, he's automatically being imprisoned, i.e. treated badly, I think you would need to look at zoos on a zoo-by-zoo basis and not just make these absolute statements. But, of course, pinheads who can't use their brain to think very well, they love absolutes. Okay, next. Would intelligent machines have a soul? Well, first you would have to define soul. So, we don't even know what soul is. If you ask people what it is, they usually can't define it. You can't prove it exists. So how can you then ask if intelligent machines would have something that you haven't even proved exists yet? We've proven intelligence exists, right? But we haven't proven souls exist. So when you've proven that, get back to me with that question. Next. More stupidity. So we got a picture here of two, what look to be 3-year-old Asian kids carrying, I don't know, what looks like sugar cane maybe on their shoulders. Looks like they're carrying an entire sugar cane tree on their shoulders, right? Little 3-year-old kids. And the caption on this picture, so it says this: age doesn't define maturity. Maturity is an attitude built by experience. And how much experience does a 3-year-old have? How much experience does a 3-year-old friggin' have? Not too much, okay? And by the way, even if they had a world of experience, they got tiny little pea brains, okay? Their mental development is not too good. It's so bad that they're saying stuff like, it's not too good. Okay? But they're not doing it for a comedic sake, for comedy's sake. They're doing it because that's the best they can come up with, right? That's not too good. Not too good. I mean, what is this nonsense? Age doesn't define maturity. That's true. Obviously. I've known people in their 50s, 60s who were very immature. I saw a video the other day of some Trump-hating broad that looked like she was about 70 attacking some poor guy because he had a Trump hat on an airplane, and she got thrown off and arrested, all right? Of course, age does not alone necessarily define maturity, meaning that just because you're old doesn't mean you're mature. However, that said, you cannot also say that because you're young, that doesn't mean you can't be mature, okay? Because you'd have to define what level of maturity we're talking about here, okay? If you're going to say to me that a 3-year-old could be as mature as the most mature 60-year-old, no. No, because they got a little pea brain that isn't developed enough to have those kind of characteristics, okay? Now, if you're going to tell me that a 3-year-old could be maximally mature for a 3-year-old, as mature as a 3-year-old could be, and maybe that 3-year-old could pass herself off as a 6-year-old, well, then I might be with you, okay? Maybe that's possible. Maybe. And, of course, this is more of this, the little children will lead us bullshit, right? Chew out of the mouths of babes. Yeah, out of the mouths of babes came what? When? People watch too many movies. I cannot remember ever hearing anything come out of the mouth of a kid that was somehow super profound or super intelligent. I spent a lot of time around a lot of kids, and I'm going to tell you, there's not too much that's highly intelligent or mature coming out of their mouths, okay? SpongeBob! Ooh! I love me SpongeBob! I mean, come on. Really, what's coming out of a 3 or 4-year-old that's all that profound or wise or intelligent, huh? The children will lead us. They'll lead you right off a fucking cliff, right? Because they don't understand the danger involved. All right, moving on. Okay, here we go with some more hippy-dippy bullshit, right? Probably members of PETA, the idiot that posted this. Is pet keeping the same as slavery? Well, only if the slaves are the people keep the pets, you idiot. Is this person ever really stopped to think about what it's like to actually have a pet and what the dynamic is going on between you and that pet? Let me define this for you, okay? If you were an alien, for example, viewing this, and you came to Earth and you looked at people who had pets, what would you think? Would you think that the person was the master or the animal? Now think very carefully about this. The person takes care of this animal. They feed it. They take it out for walks so it can take a shit and a piss. It's very inconvenient to go out and walk this animal 4, 5, 6 times a day. It's almost as inconvenient to have a cat or one of these other weird exotic animals like a fucking ferret or something that uses a litter box that stinks up your fucking house so you're smelling cat shit and piss all the time, right? So you're living through this kind of a horrible experience just for the sake of this animal. And you're petting it, you're combing it, you're massaging it, you're treating it like a fucking king or queen, depending on the sex of the animal, of course. And someone could have the stupidity to ask this question. You want to know who the slave is? You want to know who the slave actually is? If you simply look at who is serving who, it's the freaking human, you idiot! This is why I don't have fucking animals, by the way. You just become their slave, all right? You become enslaved to them in a sense, all right? You're feeding them, you're combing them, you're taking them to the vet all the time. You have to look out for their well-being and massage them and pet them, and they sleep in your fucking bed, and they get animal hair all over the fucking place. They piss and shit everywhere that you have to clean up. And they don't do anything for you. They're in no way productive. They produce nothing except piss and shit. And you still take care of them. That's certainly not them enslaved to you. What a dumb question. All right, moving on. Okay, this next one is just a statement made by what is clearly a socialist, altruistic moocher type. So there's a picture here of somebody standing on the top of a hill. Very small hill, obviously. More like a hillock. Okay, maybe like a bump in the land. I don't know about a hill. But anyway, they're standing at a slightly higher elevation than somebody who's below them, and they're holding out their hand to help the person up. And below is the text, if you're helping someone and expecting something in return, you're doing business, not kindness. Well, isn't that great? You know the people that I see saying shit like this more often than not? It's people that want shit from other people, right? They're the ones who want something, right? And they want to make you give it to them, but you're not supposed to want anything in return. So let me get this straight. You want something from me and I give you something, but then I get nothing back. But I'm the bad guy for wanting something back. You're not the bad guy for wanting something from me for nothing. That's very interesting. Next. Okay, this one's, Is a woman meant to fear or respect her man? Okay, so first of all, nobody should respect anybody without them having earned that respect, okay? The only problem with women these days is it doesn't matter how much a man does to quote-unquote earn respect, she'll never respect him, okay? Because women have been taught today to hate and despise men. Yeah, they want them because they're women, they're heterosexual women, and, they want to get their pipes cleaned, okay? Like anybody else, right? So, yeah, they feel a want, a need for men, but at the same time, they've been taught to hate them. So, it doesn't matter how much work you do, you will not earn the respect of the average modern Western woman. It's not going to happen. Okay, this is going to be the final comment I want to comment on, and it's from Senator Dianne Feinstein. Oh, boy. Anybody see this broad when she was cross-examining Kavanaugh, who is now Justice Kavanaugh? Oh, boy. I hate this woman. I hate her. Listen to this. Today we have 15 million assault weapons in the U.S. These guns are modeled after military weapons and then sold to civilians. Okay. So what? So what? What's your point, honey? What's your point? You can't use it for hunting. Sure you can. What are you talking about? You don't need it for defense. Okay, wait. So here's the problem right there. So there's the problem. There's the problem. She's making an assertion. She's making a claim, but she has no argument, no evidence for that claim. Explain to me why I do not need an AR-15, for example, for defense, sweetheart. Why don't I need it for defense? Can you explain to me that? Can you? So she's going off of this lazy assumption, myth, belief among the left and liberals and people like Joe Biden who say shit like, you only need a shotgun. You just need a shotgun to defend your home. Everybody in America should just have a shotgun. No rifles, no handguns, just a shotgun. You'll be safe. Of course, a shotgun is completely useless, almost completely useless against American troops who almost all wear body armor that'll stop a, high-capacity, highly powerful rifle round, right? It's very interesting how the only weapons they want you to have are ones that are completely useless against our own military. Very interesting. And by the way, what if somebody breaks into my house and they're wearing a bulletproof vest, huh? What do I do then? Try to get those little pellets through that vest that'll stop a .44 caliber bullet? Do I try to do that? Do I just keep shooting aimlessly? Remember those guys that robbed that bank in L.A., was it? Those two guys that wore all that body armor and had all those rounds. They eventually got stopped, right? But not until they had shot like tons of people, and they had been shot like many, many times, and they kept going, right? Would a shotgun have stopped them? No! She goes on to say, what do you really need it for? So, number one, she makes this false claim that it can't be used for hunting, right? I bet this woman has never fired a gun in her entire life. Meanwhile, she's got all this private security, right? Guns are bad. I have four private security guards that are armed who follow me at all times. Interesting. But I thought guns were bad. They're bad for you, not for me. Yeah, you don't need it for defense. Who said? Who are you to get to decide what I do and don't have for defense, right? Well, of course, who she wants to be is the great grand poobah who decides for us all and tells us all what we can or cannot do or say. She's the big giant mommy who wants to essentially tell us all how to live our lives. None of this is an argument. None of these are arguments. 15 million assault weapons. So saying that, it's supposed to make your eyes bug out of your head and go, whoa, I didn't know there were that many. I should get scared. I should be alarmed at so many of these weapons out there, even though something like 99% of all crimes are committed with handguns. But apparently, those are just fine to have, right? Even though they commit almost all the crimes. Yeah, it's funny how you don't see her talking about handguns, all right? Yeah, she just wants to talk about these guns that look big and scary. Right. They look big and scary. They look so frightening. I can sell this, right? I can sell Bannon these things by talking about how big and scary and how they look like military weapons, right? I can do that, yeah. But the real reason I'm doing this is because I'm a crazy, rabid leftist that wants to import as many low IQ Democratic voters as I possibly can. I want to import all these people from these socialist countries. And, the Democratic Party is really the new socialist party, right? So if I get these people into the country, I know they're going to vote for me, okay? And if I get enough of these people, all right, then I can so dramatically change the country that I can remake it the way I want it to be. And if any of these pesky nationalists, if any of these pesky nation-loving Americans are still around at that point, well, I want to make sure they have no guns which they can use to fight back against my now tyranny. Because they all just have shotguns. They probably won't even have shotguns, right? They probably won't even have shotguns because first, they're going to come for your rifles. They're going to come for the most dangerous thing first, right? They're going to try to make you all frightened of this thing, and then they're going to get that away from you, right? And then the next thing will be the handguns, and then the shotguns, and then you're not going to have anything. Well, maybe you'll be able to get guns from the criminals because, they'll still be available in the black market, right? The bad guys will still be able to get the guns. It's just you, the law-abiding citizen, who will not. All right, that's it. I think I'm about out of juice, okay? I think I've reviewed enough stupid questions and comments this week. So let me know what you think in the comment sections of this video. And please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're seeing this on my YouTube channel. And also follow me on Twitter and Facebook. I always post new content to both. And if you really like my content and you want to help me make more, please consider supporting me on Patreon. I have both a monthly and a per content piece Patreon. So I have 2 Patreon accounts. I make 2 podcasts a week. If you want to support me through Patreon per piece, you can do that, or just once a month. It's up to you, as is the amount. And that's it. I am the Realist Philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.